Only 24 hours have passed since I washed my hair. I don't want to hear no comments about the shrinkage that took place in this video. None of it. I don't want to hear any of y'all saying, did you cut your hair? Girl, I did not cut it. I respect my inches. I cultivate my inches. Much like my follicles, I retreat when I have been nourished to process what has just happened to me. And sure, I may look small. Sure, I may coil. But that does not mean I will not come out a beautiful 4C lock. Welcome to Jackie's Corner. And for the non-black people who are listening to this and have no idea what I'm talking about, well, shit. I worked on a golf course for 3 years. You think I know what those bitches were talking about? I smiled away. Okay, that's right, folks. It's the last Jackie's Corner of this iteration. Who knows? Perhaps there'll be more corners and more Jackies in our future. But until then, we have this time together, so why not enjoy it? She is a 2017 graduate of Dawson College's professional theater program. That same year, she was chosen to participate in the Black Theater Workshop Artist Mentorship Program. She made her rounds performing on Montreal's celebrated theater stages, starring in Balkanville, Blackout, and Clean Slate. She racked up a multitude of on-screen credits, which include feature film On the Basis of Sex, and television shows The Bold Type, Real Detective, and My Worst Nightmare. Her breakout performance in the Centaur Theater hit play Successions led to her being nominated for Outstanding Emerging Artist and winning Outstanding Supporting Performance by an Actress by the 2018 Montreal English Theatre Awards. All of this landed her a widely coveted spot in the CFC's Actors Conservatory in 2019. A true thespian, as well as my very good friend and roommate. Here she is, Miss Gita Bonita Cornelius Nightingale Forrest Whitaker Bitaker Miller, otherwise known as Miss Gita Miller.
Times they are changing. I said red lipstick today.
Listen, I did the same thing and then immediately wiped most of it off.
Why?
I thought I looked like Ronald McDonald.
Mate, how are ya?
I'm good. Look at us.
Look at us.
Look at us. Gita Miller.
Yes, ma'am.
The one and only.
Hello.
For anyone that's curious about how to get into the CFC, how do you ground yourself in those audition situations, or how did you do it early on?
I'm just gonna ramble. I'm gonna start from the beginning. I found this guy somehow. I think it was my mom who saw this flyer for acting classes at our grocery store, and I started doing classes with him. And then he introduced me to this school called MSOPA, which so many young Montrealers did at that time. And it was just foundation classes of scene study and character building and stuff like that. And that's how I met my first agent. He started sending me on auditions, but I was still really young. I was I don't know, 17, 16. I can't even tell you how many auditions I did, just sheer panic. Pre-theater school and even during theater school, the only thing I really committed to was crazy over preparing. It was great from the beginning of my acting process to feel what it felt like to really go balls to the walls with my prep. And I think something I learned at the CFC just from being there, I started to really pay attention to the way that I talk to myself. A lot of my talk was super negative, especially when I'm prepping. And I found that if I really pay attention and focus on what I really want to do, which is discover what this scene and what this moment is, I have to just kind of fight constantly to keep that as my focus. And then that's when I find that I do my best work.
I think a big part of going to a school like CFC or going to other programs that have to do with filmmaking, particularly as a person of color, instances of networking and making those connections and all that can be sometimes the hardest part of it all because of your identity and what your identity means in relation to the institution that you're being supported by. I went to the CFC lunch last year and it was a very, very, very interesting experience. Let's be real, beautiful grounds.
Beautiful.
Looks like a plantation. How did you and how have you and how do you navigate those spaces being who you are.
I think I'm going to speak more generally how I do feel as a Black woman whose, passion is acting and being in the film industry, because I honestly can't say that the experience that I had at CFC was like the only time that I felt that way. Only once in my life have I ever been not the only Black woman at an institution or in a play or in a project or whatever. It's only happened to me once. At the CFC, in my program, there were other people of color, which is great. And did I feel supported by my classmates and feel connected to them and love them? Like, I genuinely love them. But at the same time, I was the only woman of color in my program. Sometimes I definitely noticed certain people gravitating towards each other of the same ethnicity and gender, and sometimes just wonder like, damn, it would be really nice to not be the only Black girl here. I constantly worry about being tokenized. I constantly worry about how fair my skin is and wondering why I was chosen and if that was a factor. I really had to work really hard to know exactly who I am. I'm very invested in my mental health, in being very careful about who I surround myself with, and to pay really close attention to the things that people say, because throughout my career, I've learned that like no one's gonna look out for me like I'm gonna look out for me. Not because they don't care. I think some people definitely care, but because they just don't know. That I think I've really built up a practice. I did the Black Theater Workshop mentorship program, and I had my mentor, Tristan. I was so grateful to have a Black artist that I could turn to and look for advice, or just to let what was happening in certain situations, let that out and be validated.
Okay, to wrap it up, we're gonna take a ride to Manifestation Station. I want to hear what you're gonna accomplish in 5 years and 25 years.
In 5 years, I will have been on many more sets as an actor, not just playing receptionists and cute little girlfriends. I will have played roles that are about humanity and human nature, and not only about my Blackness. I will probably have been in a movie at TIFF by that point. I probably will at least get nominated for TIFF Rising Star. I might be starring in the biopic of Megan Thee Stallion. It is gonna be so good. You won't even like, people are gonna have a whole view into Megan's life that they didn't even know. So that's probably also gonna be either happening or like in the works, And not only will I have those things, Jackie, I will be feeling good. I will be feeling centered. I will be feeling confident and happy and heard, bitch. So that's 5 years. In 25 years, I will have a beautiful house in New York. You're gonna live down the street. We will have our own production company and probably start doing that shit. I'm gonna have money to hire like regular acting coaches, movement coaches, people I can just call, because I'll have done all these like series and stuff. So I'll have money to like even further invest in my training, like on a crazy deep level. I will have won an Oscar. And you're gonna be in the audience, and we're gonna do that Whitney Houston thing where you jump up and just go.
Look at us.
And I will, and let's listen to this. I will still be doing therapy, because honey, it never ends.
We did it, guys. Jackie's Corner is officially closed for business. For now, she's taking a little time off for herself, trying to figure out how to maintain her freaking curls in this humidity. I am so grateful that all of you tuned in and watched this little old weird video series in which I got a chance to talk to a lot of friends and new friends. As my final farewell, I'd say share this video. Let as many people know about this series and about the people who are featured in them, so that as everything is opening up, those people can be hired. And who knows, perhaps a new corner is around the corner.